Hello, I'm Stu from Robert White's, and today I'd like to show you very quickly the half-inch rail run and gun rig that's been introduced by Sam Morgan-Moore. Now, Sam is a stills photographer turned videographer, and he saw a niche market basically for focus rigs or camera rigs designed for stills cameras rather than adapters for video type cameras. Here we can see a Canon 5D Mark II attached to the standard run and gun rig. It's a very simple rig based on square section handlebar. That makes it very stable, with standard 15mm rails. They're the correct distance to take a commercially available follow focus. In this configuration we can actually see what he calls his skate wheel follow focus. So simply it is a skate wheel, high quality skate wheel, and we have an adjustable strap. If you're using an autofocus zoom lens or prime lens, you notice that the actual focus is quite loose and free, and it can be quite difficult to focus fluidly, especially when you've got your hands on the ends of the handlebar, which this makes it very stable for those sort of shots where you have to work handheld. The skate wheel basically makes it work brilliantly because you can then put your thumb on the strap, and you'll notice that it's actually making the lens focus, so it makes it very quick and easy, especially if you're working on your own. The other nice thing about this rig is that it will take commercially available follow focuses the normal way, but when it comes to gearing lenses, Sam actually has introduced half-inch rail zip tie focus gears, so if you need to use a commercially available follow focus, we also can supply the gears to go with it. You'll notice it only has a very lightweight spar on the back, which is sort of sitting on my shoulder. The spar is adjustable. We haven't got a shoulder pad. The main concept is there actually isn't that much weight there, and most short clips you haven't got a lot of weight on your shoulder for a long time anyway. It's adjustable by means of this donut. It's a little toothed donut, and when we adjust it according to our own shoulder level, it can sit nice and easily. And if I'm using a viewfinder like this is a little Seagull viewfinder, and clip it onto the back of the camera, it means my eye, I'm right-eyed, links up perfectly through the viewfinder, and I can focus quite clearly, and it makes a nice stable platform. Okay, so when you buy the half-inch rails run and gun rig, effectively you get the handlebar section. The handlebar has individual hand grips. These little tubes that run through are standard half-inch tubes, the sort of thing you can buy from B&Q, but only without the grip. It makes it very versatile to actually make up custom rigs. So if you wanted to mount it in a really strange place, you can literally buy this tubing, cut it off to length, and use standard Manfrotto clamps to link it all together. But it comes with these two nice soft grips. An awful lot of rigs have the attraction of being able to move these hand grips around. So when you have, just attach that to the standard 15mm bars, so that when you're holding it, that you can angle it to your own personal position. But what we found is, in our own use, is that when we then lower the camera down, or we put a little bit too much pressure, and I'll show you on Clash, one of the competitors. So this one has adjustable clamps, and you notice that the actual handlebar section is just round tube, although it's grooved on this in this case. And even though it's grooved and we can do it up nice and tight, the problem is you lower it down and it moves. And I find it incredibly frustrating when you're trying to work that you can actually move these things when it's even under sort of low pressure. There's an awful lot of tension that can go into it when you're actually filming. You've got a heavy camera onto it. So the attraction with this is it's absolutely rigid. Unlike a lot of other rigs, it doesn't necessarily need to have its own separate case because it folds down very small. It'll go into most small bags, common Billingham type bags. Even if you undid the tubes, it will just roll down in the back, so it makes it very easy and portable. So even if you don't think you're going to be shooting video, it's a great thing to take with you. It also serves as a very good platform just to place your camera in very small sections, small areas. On Sam's website, he shows him placing cameras inside washing machines, tumble dryers, fridges. It's a really versatile system. On the other side, we see the donut section that we spoke about. That takes, again, standard 12mm tube, and it's toothed. So when it locks into place, it's absolutely locked. I can drop the clamp here, and if the clamp gets in, little lever gets in the way, I can simply just readjust it to any position and still keep it nice and tight. The top part, which he calls the cheese plate, has multiple holes in it, and it's been matched for most common quick release and camera configurations. This makes it very versatile, not only for DSLR users, but also for existing cinematographers who are using existing commercially available cameras. So we like it because of its versatility and its strength. So now we're going to see, this is again 1/2" rails, run and gun rig, 5D Mark II, but we're seeing it with a commercially available follow focus. This is one of the Genus follow focuses. This is a slightly more expensive one. If you're using a conventional stills lens, the problem is, of course, is that you need to put a gear around it in order to work with the follow focus. Normally people would buy an adjustable gear, but they're a little bit cheap and nasty. And what we found is that when you're focus pulling, you tend to get judder in the focus because the profile of the gear was never actually intended to be as precise as is needed for a proper professional follow focus. So Sam again has introduced within 1/2" rails zip tie focus gears. This is an inexpensive plastic gear. They come in different lengths for different barrel widths. So in this case we've got a Zeiss 50mm 1.4 planar lens, same optics that you get in the compact prime, but of course to use it in this configuration we need a much smaller gear than you usually have. So what we do is we select the correct gear, it runs around the outside of the lens, and you make sure the gear you buy is just a tiny bit smaller than it needs to be, so it leaves this little gap. And then you use a normal commercially available zip tie which comes with it, and it loops through from each end through this little adjustable hole. You do it up, pull it tight, and then what that means is that the gears, which is a 0.8 pitch, fits into a standard 0.8 pitch follow focus, and the profile is really nice and smooth. They've very carefully selected a very high quality plastic, or it's like a nylon type plastic that runs nice and smooth. It also means when you do it up even around an expensive lens or a less expensive lens, that you have no risk of crushing the barrel, so it won't distort or invalidate your warranty on the lens. Sometimes we find customers who have lenses where the focus mount travels, it moves forwards and backwards as you focus. A common question is, why can't people use the Zeiss 100mm ZF.2 macro lens with a follow focus? You can, but it can be tricky. That's because the focus mount moves in and out as you focus. It's a phenomenally good lens and it's based on a master prime, but what it needs is a much wider focus gear. 1/2" rails have recently brought out the fat gear. This is the same type of principle, but it's wider. It's really universal adjustable gear, and because it's wider it means that the change in the barrel distance as you focus is catered for, so the follow focus can travel backwards and forwards. You notice it's very long, but what they've done is they've introduced some extra little holes, so you basically just cut it off. It's the perfect thing for the DOP to carry in his bag. If he needs to rent that lens for that special purpose, it's perfect because they just gear it accordingly. Not only that, if the lens has to move a long way, they actually have these little teeth on the side, and they'll link to other gears so that the profile matches across, and your follow focus will be able to travel from one gear to the other. Again, they tie with a conventional zip tie with two little clips here. It's another thing that makes 1/2" rails very well thought out. Another interesting thing that Sam's come out with, a very innovative person, is a little thing called a spud. This little piece of metal is called a spud, and it's often used to join different parts of the 1/2" rail system to different types of clamp. You can attach it to Arri clamps and all sorts of different things, including big rubber suckers. But when combined with a high quality skate wheel, it's the same type of skate wheel that gets used with his lightweight skate wheel follow focus, you can end up with something that's really quite interesting. What you do is you undo the standard hand grips. Again, remember that that's 1/2" tube size, same size as this little end here. And you're able to then put the skate wheel into the little slot, and we can do that on both sides. And into there. And also, if I remove the little bar at the back, which is attached to a donut, as Sam calls it, it'll take another wheel in here. And what that gives us is a very, very inexpensive slider. We can take this and run it along a table or a counter. We can do it, effectively it's a nice little either slider to go sideways like this. If I move it forwards, we then have a conventional dolly type shot. As long as our surface is nice and smooth, or we select a nice bit of track that's going to be smooth, it just puts that all important movement into our video clips. Whilst it's never going to compete with commercially available sliders on the whole, what it means is if you're just out and you don't know what you're going to be filming, just having 3 of these allows you to just put in that little bit more movement into your footage. You can even angle them so that you can effectively steer your way around products. So it'd be great if you're filming interiors or if you're doing an interview, just to put in that little bit of movement. And hopefully somewhere you'll see some little clips that have been shot around the shop showing it in action. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed this and found it informative. If you want any more information, then please look at the robertwhite.co.uk website, or you can email us at sales@robertwhite.co.uk, or you can check out the Half Inch Rails website, which is halfinchrails.com. Thank you very much. Cheerio.